The Fox News alert continues. We're getting a better idea of the threat there at the Capitol. It looks like a car has crashed into one of those barricades that comes up out of the ground at the entrance off of Constitution in front of the Russell Senate building. This would be on the Senate side. Some congressional aides are texting me saying that there may have been shots fired as well and that there may be something suspicious in this vehicle, Sandra. So this threat seems to be more than the typical threat that we seem to get here on a daily basis here at Washington, D.C. We do have a picture, which we'll get for you soon, of this car crashed into that barricade.
For more on this, let's bring in Chad Pergram. He's live on Capitol Hill. Chad, what do we know?
Well, what was remarkable about this is they came on the intercom inside the U.S. Capitol here, and you don't hear this very often. And in fact, the last time I heard this was on the 6th of January during the riot, where they said that there had been, an incursion into the Capitol, and they were trying to get members of Congress out of the House chamber when they were tabulating the Electoral College. They came on the intercom and said that they were locking down the Capitol due to an external security threat. You could move around inside the Capitol. They did not lock down the Capitol itself. You don't have to stay in your offices or anything like that. We're inside the Capitol right now. But I should note the significance of this location. So again, to orient you, this is Constitution Avenue on the Senate side, the north side of the Capitol, as John says, just across from the Russell Senate Office building. This is the very gate that I walk through every day to get into the Capitol. What is interesting is just about 2 weeks ago, they reduced the larger perimeter that they put around the Capitol after 1/6. That went out several blocks, almost to Union Station to the north. They had completely closed down Constitution Avenue and Independence Avenue. Those are the long avenues that run parallel to the Capitol on both the Senate and the House side. And so what you're referring to there are those permanent barriers that they raise and lower, from the ground. That's where I always see a large contingent of National Guard troops each day. Now, that number has certainly been reduced over the past couple of weeks. They sent a lot of these members home, but there's still, a sizable contingent here through the middle of May. They renewed their operation. Some members of Congress said they didn't need to. But again, the fact that you get that close to the Capitol, that's the problem. This roadway would not even be open 2 weeks ago. They also removed the concertina wire there. And you have a lot of members saying, take down all the fencing. Now, that is probably one of the best guarded gates at the U.S. Capitol, because that's where senators come in, aides drive them in, or the senators drive them in when they come in to vote. There are two sets of barriers there. So you come in off Constitution Avenue, they know who you are, or they, recognize it's Capitol Police, or in some instances now the National Guard. They lower the first barricade, and then there's a second barricade closer to the building. And then you have all these little poles, all that they put up after 9/11. So it would be very hard if you were off the roadway to get that close to the Capitol. Now, the first thing I will say is that whatever the threat is here, it appears that the security worked this time, because that's why they have double redundancy there with those two sets of barricades. But what didn't work, again, we don't know the nature of this threat, and this is the most serious thing we've had happen at the Capitol since the 6th of January, is the fact that that roadway and access to that point was not open. I mean, just a couple of weeks ago when I would come into the Capitol, you would have to go down a street. They would check your ID. They would check your trunk. You would go through one set of barricades, park your car. Again, Constitution was closed off. You could get in by foot, but you could not drive. And again, this has been part of the debate about overall security. Should that street, Constitution Avenue, a major American roadway, I mean, it's important here in the United States, between the U.S. Capitol and the Russell Senate Office building, I should note, after the Oklahoma City bombing in April of 1995, that they closed off a lot of the side streets that run between the House and Senate office buildings because of concerns about a truck bomb.
All right, and Chad, I also want to bring to your attention that Jen Psaki inside the White House briefing room, this was just brought to her attention. She said first she was not aware of the situation. She was again asked about the lockdown at the Capitol complex, which is ongoing right now. She was also told that there were reports in hearings of gunfire. She was asked how the president is going to be informed of things, and she responded, the president always travels with the national security rep, with someone who serves as essentially acting chief of staff typically, and went on to regular protocol. It appears there has not been any formal briefing on the matter from the White House at this moment. That's a live shot up at the Capitol right now. We'll continue to monitor any information there, but I am getting this information from our own Hillary Vaughn, our Capitol Hill correspondent. And Chad, I'll get your reaction to this. She's saying that she can report that there was a car smashed into the barrier, as you are also detailing for us, Chad, a navy blue sedan. There was one person on the ground that Capitol Police were tending to. 2 stretchers were rolled out, one to the person on the ground. The other stretcher went beyond her point of view to someone else. 2 people were then pushed on stretchers and loaded into 2 separate ambulances. Those ambulances have since left. The car is still smashed into the barrier, Chad, is what she is reporting. Final thought.
Yeah, and that's always been the issue here, that prior to 1/6, it was generally thought that the Capitol itself was secure due to these types of redundancies that I talked about. It was always the concern about what would happen outside, because that's where you have a lot of House members, senators, aides, journalists walking back and forth. As I say, that's right where I come into the Capitol each day. I should note, because we're in really the first bona fide congressional recess, where both the House and Senate are out since the end of March last year, that there's not a lot of people here today. I mean, the House is out, the Senate is out. I've not seen a single House or Senate member here all day. But when Congress is in session, that is a major way that members get into the Capitol and leave, and sometimes do it on foot. You know, some of them have their offices in the Russell Senate office building, and they just walk right across the street. That is a heavily trafficked area. Now, sometimes they do have suspicious cars here and there. You know, this is pre-1/6, and they will check those out, but usually not that close to the Capitol. It's been a long time since they've had an issue with somebody running a barricade here at the Capitol.
All right, Chad, if you could just stand by with us, we'll check back in with you.